again, good friends. Welcome, new subscribers. I'm Brian from Apex Detail. Today's video will serve multiple purposes. First of all, I'm going to show how to do an engine bay detail with no hookups whatsoever. No water, no electric. Second, but more important, I'm going to answer some questions on to what to look for and what to protect in the engine bay while doing an engine bay detail. And last but not least, I'm going to show how to wash and clean a car that has been freshly coated with a ceramic coating or even a PPF. This portion of the video is more for some of my customers who have had their car coated, and it's something I can point them to guide them a little bit. But I'm going to jumble this all into one video, and hopefully all you guys can get a nugget or two out of the whole thing. So, without further ado, let's get to it. All right, we're going to do an engine bay detail. We're going to do it with no water hookup, no electric hookup. We're going to add 1 ounce of a pH neutral shampoo into the IK foam line foamer, and we're going to start to get this done. I'm going to cover everything you need to protect right here, the alternator. Within the casing behind the drive guard are 2 roller bearings, 1 rotor, 1 stator, and 1 regulator. It's important to protect all those from free-flowing water. When it comes to wiring, modern cars have moisture-proof, waterproof casings and connections. You see the yellow band there, that acts as a waterproof barrier so moisture and water doesn't get into the connection itself. There are quite a few of those around the car. You may want to double check, make sure they're tight. When it comes to the fuse box itself, I'm going to open it up. I'm going to lay plastic over the fuses, and then I'll close the cap. A lot of these compartments are waterproof to begin with. This just gives me a peace of mind knowing there's an extra layer of protection. I'm going to tuck the plastic underneath the box as far as I can and then make sure the lid is locked tight and snapped. When it comes to the battery and the terminals, I'm going to leave this one be. It has protective caps, but if you have something that looks like this with multiple connections, go ahead, cover it up, be safe. How I pump up and prime the IK foam line foamer, there's one more area of concern, depending on where it is, and that's the onboard computer. Most of the time that's tucked in a compartment on its own, also waterproof, sometimes not even in the engine bay compartment. However, take a look, locate it, make sure it's in a good place and protected. So let's start the engine bay detail. I'm going to foam it, I'm going to pre-treat it using the IK foam line foamer and just a pH neutral shampoo. This engine bay is just lightly soiled. I don't need anything stronger than that. If you have a heavily soiled engine bay, go with a diluted cleaner or degreaser or whatever else you may use. I have the dry foam attachment, one of 3 attachments made for the IK foam line foamer, ensuring we're not pumping a ton of moisture into the engine bay. I will then grab a very soft detail brush. I'll go in there, agitate the foam after it dwells for about 5-10 minutes, and see if I can break any bonded dirt that may be stuck on the plastics or any area in the engine compartment, and get it ready to be thoroughly rinsed. All right, that's going to do it. So we're going to rinse, and again, we're using no water hookup, no electric hookup. We're going to use the Works Hydro Shot. That is a battery-powered rinsing unit. It has enough power to rinse away foam or some loose dirt, grit, maybe a little bit of dust. It doesn't have a ton of power, so don't worry about it oversaturating or actually forcing water into areas where it's not supposed to be in an engine bay compartment. But it's just enough for this job right here. I also use it for if I'm in an apartment complex and I don't have a hookup there either. I could use the IK foam line foamer and the Works Hydro Shot here to do an entire wash with no hookup. Put that all together and you end up with one decent looking engine bay compartment. You can then either dress the plastics, you can leave it just the way it is, natural and dry, or you can add a little bit of protection, either using Geon Preserve or Geon Trim. Hey, this portion of the video is for those that have had their car freshly coated or have paint protection film. I use half an ounce or an ounce of pH neutral car shampoo and I add it to a foam lance such as the one I'm using here. Now to my customers, I've given them all links to the products all needed for the aftercare, and this is how it's done. You put a layer of the foam on the car, it lifts, encapsulates, so you can then safely rinse a lot of the loose grit, the dust, and the non-bonded contaminants away before you start a contact wash. You'll notice here I don't have Hollywood picturesque foam dripping off the car. I just have a half ounce to an ounce, not 4 ounces in the foam lance container. I want a gentle wash. I don't want to deteriorate either the overcoat, the sacrificial layer, or the coating itself. And this even goes for when cleaning or washing a car that has a quality sealant or even a wax. If you are in a sheltered environment, such as myself, you can let the foam dwell on there for 10, 11, sometimes even 12 minutes. And then thoroughly rinse. And if you have a good pH neutral shampoo, it can even dry on the panel a little bit and it's still going to rinse free. It's going to reactivate and you can rinse it thoroughly. Okay, the first step to a swirl-free wash is complete. We have the pre-wash done, we have it foamed, it's rinsed, and the car is now grit-free, dust-free, and anything that was loose laying on top of the surface of your coating or your overcoat or your topper is now removed. We can now prepare for the contact wash. I have one bucket. That's it. 3 mitts. I put 1 ounce of a pH neutral shampoo into the wash bucket, agitate with the 3 mitts in it. We don't have a rinse bucket, we don't have a silly grit guard, we're not wasting water, and I'm going to show you at the end how I cap it and keep it dirt free until next use. A dirty or soiled wash mitt will never go back into the wash bucket. I have one for the top of the car that gets put to the side. I grab another one for the driver's side, gets put to the side. I have one for the passenger side. That gets put to the side as well. This shampoo here, 1 ounce is what I used. You can add enough until you have enough lubrication that you can feel between your fingers, then you're good to go. I myself, I refoam the car, and I'm going to let it sit again for another 5 minutes before I start the contact wash. You could skip this altogether and go right to the contact wash. I like the extra lubrication. My preferred gear for the contact wash is the 10x10 Cyclone to start. That's from the ragcompany.com, and I use that on the top of the car, the roof, front and back, window, windshield, the hood, the trunk, a little bit of the front, a little bit of the back. Here's a demonstration of how much water, product, and shampoo the 10x10 can hold. Just under a gallon. You need a little bit more moisture, lubrication, or product, give it a squeeze. Or 2, or 3, you get the point. Anyway, the top portion of the car is done. Time for the passenger side. I have a separate mitt for that. When I'm done with the passenger side, I put that mitt over on the edge, ready to be cleaned. Grab another mitt for the driver's side. All 3 mitts will be pressure washed, then they'll get thrown in the washer and then dryer to tumble dry, low heat on both, and they're ready to go for the next wash. Now, we're detaching the foam lance, we're putting on the rinse nozzle. Attach it, if you have quick disconnect, point it to the floor, test it out, make sure it's not going to fly out, chip your paint, crack a window or windshield, and then it's time to give your car a thorough rinse. Okay, we're on the home stretch now, and before we talk about drying, I want to show you the wash bucket. Not a grain of dirt, dust, no grit. I cap it, I agitate it later, and I use it. Preserve the water, preserve the product. When it comes to drying, a leaf blower will work. The PT blower I showed you in quite a few videos will work as well. And if you have a couple water droplets left over, a nice edgeless microfiber drying towel will do. Okay, that's going to do it for today's video, and I truly enjoy spending a little bit of time with you guys day in and day out with these videos. I appreciate every one of you. If you have any questions whatsoever on what we did today, don't hesitate. I'll see you in the next video.